Hi, I'm Jeff, the SP Spazz, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And for those of you who have seen my videos before, you might be saying, well, haven't you already been talking about this? But for the most part, I've been talking about the different types and temperaments of both Myers-Briggs and Kersey temperament theory, but I haven't done a whole lot of talking about the actual indicator itself, the test, if you will, although some people don't like to call it a test because there's no right or wrong answers to it. Um, but after many years of encountering and sometimes taking online personality tests and things like that, um, I very recently actually took the official Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Um, Now, I had taken the Kersey temperament sorter before on more than one occasion, but as far as Myers-Briggs, this was the first time to take the so-called real test. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things related to that, not just the results I got on it, but also a little bit about the indicator itself, some of the questions. Because in the past I had been kind of harsh on some online versions of Myers-Briggs based tests like the human metrics one, because I kind of assumed, I guess, that they were somewhat distorted versions of the real thing. And in some cases I think they still are, but having seen the real one now, I can say that, some of the same flaws that are in the online versions appear in the Myers-Briggs version as well, the official version. Um, so I guess I kind of wanted to get into that as well. First of all, as far as the type result, the test said that I am an ESFP, and it said a slight preference for extroversion, a moderate preference for sensing, and then very clear preferences for feeling and for perceiving, which, none of that really came as a huge surprise to me. And if you watched my video on the great IE debate, you know that it's not surprising that the I versus E thing would be the closest when it came to my test results, because um, I've said many times that I've been kind of borderline in that area. Um, but it was, it is interesting to do the official thing, and I was actually inspired when I watched another NF Geeks video. It was another video chat where Mike was talking with Claire and INFP, and they talked about, she had taken the official test, and so he was like, you're officially an INFP. So, I, like many things on the spur of the moment, decided, well, maybe I will finally, actually go ahead and and get this done, and so I can officially say, that I am an ESFP. But um, that that actually may come as a surprise to some people, because if they haven't watched my previous videos and haven't heard all the different things I've talked about what introversion and extroversion really mean, people that know me, outside of Typology Town, as one particular member of the Podlair group called it recently. That's a whole other kettle of fish right there. I definitely plan to discuss those people sometime, but that's not the purpose of this video. Anyway, as I discussed in my other video, the terms of introversion and extroversion have taken on certain meanings in today's society that are kind of commonly held, that are not necessarily the same as the original intent of those words when it came to typology. So there are people even people I have talked to about personality types and all this, that would be surprised that something would say that I was an extrovert, because they're looking at the social aspect of it, and I'm not Mr. Life of the Party guy. Um, well, at least not in most circumstances. I can be depending on the circumstance. That's the thing that I talked about before, is that I have the ability to kind of own the room, but under certain circumstances. I'm not the kind of person that just always gravitates to that. Like everywhere I go, I'm going to announce my presence and just take over everything, and everybody is like, "Oh, it's here comes Jeff, the party guy." Um, that's not me and never has been. But in my element, I can be extremely outgoing, and in general, um, my preference, and that's again, they use the term preference, and there's kind of a reason for that. Um, my preference is to be outgoing in the sense that I don't like things to be hidden or private or you know mysterious and things like that. And when I say that, I don't mean in fiction. I mean I like a good mystery in terms of fictional stuff, but in terms of real life, I've always been very much everybody should just lay their cards out on the table and be straightforward and honest and open about things. I don't like stuff that's like I said, just hidden things beneath the surface, tension and all that. That kind of stuff really, it to me creates stress in me. Um, Whereas some people being open and straightforward would create stress in them, and they more naturally want to be hidden in private. So I understand again that that's it's a type preference thing, and in the traditional or the original definitions of introversion and extroversion, um, I do fit the extrovert type because I am focused more on the outside world than I am on like the inner world, so to speak. Um, and that doesn't mean that I don't think about myself, obviously, or that I don't spend time thinking. It just means, well, pretty much exactly what I said, that my focus is external in the sense that throughout a day, um, when I'm thinking about what am I going to do next, or what am I doing, just my thoughts are about like activities. They're about actions within the reality, within my apartment, my job, any other place I go. It's a physical interaction with the world. Um, and the difference in that sense is that introversion is much more of the outside world has to kind of break through that and give you a reason to pay attention to it, as opposed to it being like the thing that you're focused on all the time. Whereas for me, it's the opposite, where um, a world where I'm contemplating stuff internally is the thing that has to kind of be brought upon by something. And it has been on occasions in my life, but I don't really like it very much because I think it forces me to deal with things that are uncomfortable. And um, obviously, like most people, I would rather have a comfortable life um, than an uncomfortable one. So, um, and I apologize for my camera moving around somewhat. I am unable to be in a comfortable position with where I had it before, so bear with me on that. But anyway, I didn't want to ramble too much about the whole definition of EI thing again, but I wanted to kind of establish that because that would be the one thing that, most of the time when I tell my type to people, like, and I tell them what it means, if they don't already know, most people kind of like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Um, but the one thing that anybody might take issue with would be the whole extrovert introvert thing, because they'd be like, well, you seem like you're kind of a shy person or not particularly gregarious or whatever the stereotype might be. And the thing is, it's all about what element you see me in. Most of the time when I'm at work or I'm in an environment where I'm not really having a chance to really kind of let loose, I'm going to appear to be reserved a lot of the time, because I don't tend to go looking for ways to kind of make waves, I guess you could say. In a sense, I sort of do, but not in a really over-the-top way, because I value things that make that seem like not a very good idea, put it that way. Now, there's a time in my life I might not have. There was a time where I didn't really see the value of a job as much as I do now. I guess I should say more the value of a steady job that you work for a long time and build up kind of a reputation, or, that sort of thing. I saw the value as far as getting a paycheck and, being able to buy things because of that and stuff, and I saw the value of just working with people that I liked. I mean, that's always been the case. The jobs that I preferred have been places where I enjoy the people that I work around. I mean, that's just, and people might say that's kind of a F thing, and it might be. It might be part of it. And not that T people want to work with people they don't like, but there's maybe less of a focus on that personal interaction. They're maybe able to adapt better to people that don't necessarily, make work an enjoyable experience for them. So, anyway, I can see already from the time I'm taking that this one's going to end up having to be a two-parter also. Because, like usual, I didn't, plan any particular thing, so it's going to ramble some. But I wanted to talk about a few of the issues I had with the test, but I guess I'll go ahead and finish up this first one by talking about those other preferences real quick, because it's extroverted, sensing, feeling, perceiving, my results. The sensing versus intuition thing, again, I'm not going to go into a whole tutorial about what that means. There's plenty of resources for you if you don't know what that means and you're watching this and it's like the first you've heard of it. I'm sort of assuming that most of my audience here is familiar with these concepts, or they wouldn't be looking at it. But if you're not, then by all means, do some research and look into it. But part of my problem with the test, and I'll get into this more in part 2, is the sensing versus intuition questions, because I realized looking on them that it's very possible and likely for sensors, especially SPs, I think more than SJs, to end up showing up as an intuitive on this indicator because of the way the questions are framed. There's very much a presentation of S versus N as being about creativity and imagination, and that really isn't what it's about. So at least not as far as I understand it. So in a sense, I think the indicator is actually somewhat flawed in producing the results for the descriptions of the types.